You are watching On Demand. Please do not try to vote or enter any competition or other interactivity in this programme, as it may not count and you may still be charged.
Today on your Loose Women Live, it's Ruth Langsford, Kelly Bryan, Katie Piper, and Janet Street Porter.
Thank you very much. Hello. And welcome to the first Loose Women of the Week. You are very welcome. You're definitely very welcome. We love you. And we've got lots for you coming up on today's show. Now, a top NHS boss from A&E has admitted that he is desperate to keep his parents out of hospital because of the state of the service. We'll be discussing our own fears of falling ill. Then.
Esther, Mike?
Yeah, I was just telling them about the abortion. They were so lovely.
Oh.
It's the latest drama to grip the cobbles. Can pregnant teenager Summer keep her secret after lying to Dad Billy about her pregnancy? We're going to be joined by Coronation Street's Daniel Brocklebank and on-screen daughter Harriet Bibby at 1 o'clock. And much-loved chef James Martin will be here at 1:15. He's going to be showing his top tips to turn one of these, I've given a prop, I forgot to put it on the table, one of these into an exciting meal and save some money at the same time, the humble spud. Now, as always, we love to hear from you, all the ways to get in touch right there on your screen now. OK, so it's been an eventful weekend down under in the I'm a Celebrity camp. You watching it? Watching the jungle? Yes. Well, especially for former Health Secretary Matt Hancock. He's been made team leader, bitten by a scorpion, traumatised by snakes and grilled by our very own Charlene.
It's massively bigger than that.
Sorry.
My aunt died from COVID in the first wave.
Yeah.
So we couldn't go to the hospital to go and visit her.
Yeah.
I had to sit by myself in the church at her funeral. We couldn't hug each other because we were following guidance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I get that you fell in love. I understand all of those things.
Yeah.
But sorry, for a lot of families, like mine, it doesn't really cut it.
What I'm really looking for is a bit of forgiveness. That's what I'm really looking for.
Well, you could have blown me down with a feather. That was not what I was expecting at all.
Don't think it's what any of us were expecting at all. So there he is, asking for forgiveness. And it seems like we've just been talking, everybody seems to be talking about Matt Hancock in the jungle, in the office, amongst friends and family. And there seem to be, Janet, so many different things that people are cross with him about. You know, Charlene mentioned there, she had a loved one who died during COVID. You know, they had to do a socially distanced funeral. She couldn't hug her relatives. You know, my mum is in assisted living. I was, you know, visiting her with a walkie-talkie through the window, you know, because I wasn't allowed to go in. Other people were really angry about PPE and then him breaking the very guidelines that he was asking us all to abide by, you know, that picture that we've all seen of the, you know, the amorous hug, shall I call it?
The booty grab.
The booty grab. As Babatunde calls it, the booty grab. So there seem to be various reasons that people are angry with him. Do you have one specific thing, or...?
Well, no, I'm just increasingly angry with him, not less angry because he's getting them food. And it's a good job I wasn't in the jungle this time, because if I had been round that campfire and he'd walked in, I would have either physically assaulted him or I would have to leave.
I think best you leave.
That's best I would have left. But it's important to understand the mentality in the camp, because when you're watching it at home, you are going mad, aren't you? You're thinking, why are they being so nice to him? He is providing food and you are hostages. You're in a hostage situation. OK, you're being paid a load of money to be in a hostage situation, but it's a hostage situation nonetheless, because when I was in there, it drove me nuts. I tried to walk even 50 yards, 100 yards out of the camp to get away from some of the people, and you're turned back. You're forced to sit round that fire and bond. And
it's your idea of nightmare, isn't it?
It is my idea of a nightmare, but I also think that before we say why is Charlene being nice to him, number one, she is a nice person, full stop.
Yeah.
So she's doing what any nice person would do, and that's when she sees someone, a grown man, crying in front of her, she puts her arms around him. I think, don't let's condemn her for that, but I also think she has been slightly used.
Yeah, I don't... Katie, I'm not sure I get the, you know, I'm buying the people will see the real me. And for me saying, I'm just looking for forgiveness, I go, you don't need to go into the jungle to do that. You could have said sorry.
Yeah.
You had a public platform.
Rosie could have gone and worked in a food bank.
Absolutely.
He could have gone and worked for the charity that he wants so much to support.
I think also, I don't know about you, but that line he said about I want people to see me as a human, I want people to see me as the real me. And I'm thinking, well, we wanted you to see all those people in the care home as humans who were, you know, so lonely. And so, yeah. But also, I'm not supporting Matt, but on the other side, he's one member of a government that led us through the lockdown. They did do some really good things, like rolling out the vaccine. Yeah. We have come out of lockdown. So I don't know if I'd be comfortable with the opposite of seeing him completely ostracised on telly and being bullied. No, because I wouldn't want to see that.
But if you had a relative that went from hospital into a care home during the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, where they were in denial and there were all sorts of lies and half-truths and grey areas, when they discharged the elderly from hospital into care homes without vaccinating them, that takes a lot of
But interesting, like Katie said there, Kelly, I don't necessarily hold him personally responsible for that, because that is the government. But when he personally was breaking COVID lockdown rules, social distancing rules that we were all upholding, well, most of us were upholding to the detriment of being able to see our own families, people in our families who were unwell. You know, my mum, I couldn't hold her, touch her, and we were all doing it because we were told it was for the greater good, we're all in this together, and yet he wasn't in it together. He was breaking the very rules that he was expecting us to abide by.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, you know what? You can eat all the grubs in the jungle, you can do as many trials as you like, but for me, I just think you broke the rules. You broke the rules.
Absolutely, but for me, he's an MP, first and foremost, and for me, you know, we all contribute to paying his wages. So I'm like, you're in the jungle, so can you donate your wages to the NHS? Can you donate your wages to the drivers? Can you donate your wages to people that actually need the money? You know, like, I get that he's in there, he's already said he's in there to promote his book. And
which is mentioned very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. But also, you know, he says, oh, you know, I'm in there to see the real me. You're not. You're on camera 24 hours a day. He says he's highly trained in what to do. He's very skilled. He knows what to do, how to pivot, how to engineer people's points of view. So you're just on a bigger platform showing how you can engineer people's points of view, as far as I'm concerned.
But isn't the other really bad thing that we've said so many times on this show, we want young people to engage with politics. We want young people we want the calibre of MPs to improve. And yet they look at something like this and they just think, oh, it's all right, I might have a go at being an MP. If it doesn't pan out, I can go on telly.
Yeah, it's a bad example.
And there are lots and lots of comments from you, which I will try and read out a little bit later, but also we did ask, because we were saying some people seem to be softening towards him a little because he is doing the trials, he's not complaining, he's getting out there, you know, he's bitten by a scorpion yesterday, still went to the trial.
He's very resilient.
He's very resilient. And saying, we asked, has your opinion of Matt Hancock softened since he's been in the jungle? And 35% of you say yes. I mean, that doesn't mean 65 of you say no, but 35% of people asked that question said, yeah, they are slightly softening towards him. So interesting.
Not on this panel.
Not on this panel. Sorry, mate, you have to work harder than that on the Loose Women panel. OK, well, We've been hearing about issues with the NHS, obviously, for a very long time. We discuss it so often on the show. And on the front page of the Daily Mail today, a very shocking headline, A&E chief, hospitals harm the elderly. OK, so this is from the head of the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, admitting that he wouldn't want to put his own parents into hospital because he doesn't think they're safe. And the quote says, they're like hospitals, they're like lobster traps, easy to get into, but hard to get out of. I'm desperate to keep my parents out. I mean, that is shocking coming from the man who's head of A&E services.
I mean, it's not it's shocking, but not surprising. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in hospital. I have an ongoing medical problem with my esophagus, so I spend a lot of time in gastro wards with a lot of elderly people who don't want to go home because they've got nothing to go to, their house isn't safe, they're very lonely, they're having a better time in hospital, and it's a really sad state of affairs. But I must say, I'm totally behind the nurses and their striking. And, you know, really, I really support them because this is exactly what they're saying. We can't do our job safely. You know, it's not their fault. It's higher up than that. And,
but it does bring into sharp focus, Janet, doesn't it, social care? Yes. Because we're saying the reason that so many elderly people are in hospital, and they call them bed blockers, which is such a horrible expression, but bed blocking, essentially, through no fault of their own, it's because many of them are well enough to leave hospital, but they're not really equipped to deal on their own at home. No. And social care services aren't there for them.
Well, first of all, we don't pay social care workers enough money, and there aren't enough of them. The job's not considered attractive. Plus, since Brexit, we haven't got enough workers coming into the country to even fulfil those roles that are so badly needed. And I remember my own mother's last few months. She liked being in hospital. She was incredibly lonely and she wouldn't admit it, but she liked the routine, which is a shocking state of affairs. But now 1 in 5 beds are occupied by people, as Katie said, could go home or could be cared for in a different environment. Now, what I would say is instead of slinging more money at the NHS full stop, which we have said many times on this show is far too bureaucratic, far too top-loaded, not enough money going through to the workforce, I want everyone in Parliament, instead of debating it on party lines, I want it to be a consensus. I mean, during the pandemic, they got loads of laws and through Parliament, everybody voted them through because everybody could see it was an emergency like we'd never had before. Now we're in the same situation. We've got another emergency and it's got to be resolved by politicians putting aside their political differences.
So you're nodding, Kelly, because this has been going on 4 years. Yeah. You know, so you say there are previous governments who also haven't managed to sort out problems.
It's all good them sort of piping up, going, yes, but we would do this and do that. But this has been going on for a very, very long time. I mean, I'm also, like Katie, have been in, at the hands of the NHS many, many times and have seen the difficulties that doctors and nurses have to deal with, short staffing issues. And I've, obviously seen in the caring sector how difficult that can be. And I've seen, abuse that's happened to a member of my family, also at the hands of carers. But also, I think, if they had been trained properly and if they weren't sort of looked down on, it's almost like being a carer is a bad thing. You're like at the bottom of the rung. Actually, no, I think the job needs to change, the money needs to change, and the perspective of carers needs to change.
Well, they're saying that they're competing now with so many supermarkets where people say I can earn more, stuck in shelves.
You can't blame them, though.
You can't blame them. Of course, you can't blame them. And for so many people, it's a vocation, isn't it? And they still do it despite not earning enough money. Anyway, it is a subject, obviously, that we could talk about, and I'm sure it's something we will return to many times. That is a shocking headline today on the Mail, and we'd love to know what you think. As I said, lots of ways to get in touch with us. OK, still to come. It's one of the most viewed thrillers on Netflix, The Watcher. Have you watched The Watcher? Oh, I'm not sure I want to watch it. We're going to be talking about nosy neighbours. How far is too far when it comes to having a bit of a snoop? That and more right after this. Hello Hello, welcome back to Loose Women. It's lovely to have your company this afternoon, and we have still got a lot for you today, including our guests, Coronation Street's Billy and Summer, who will be talking about the latest drama from the Cobbles. Also, Chef James Martin will be dishing out, dishing out some culinary tips from his latest fabulous cookbook at 1:15. Now then, we were looking about nosy neighbours. It's been said that by closing our curtains at night, we can save £10 from our fuel bills this winter, and we're all looking to do that. But that is very bad for nosy people. Yes, you know who you are. Yeah, one of those is former British Vogue editor Alexandra Shulman. Now, she said that she loves looking into her neighbours' houses. Curtain twitching has been a hot topic recently because of the Netflix thriller The Watcher. Oh, gosh, I haven't seen this yet. I've just seen a few clips and I'm not sure. But, you know, I have to say, I quite like a little snoop around here looking through people's windows, Kelly. Are you a snooper?
No, I'm not a snooper, but I do like to befriend my neighbours. So, like, when I first moved into my house just recently, I've been there a year, I arrived and on the driveway was, like, a card, flowers, 6 eggs, a pint of milk. I was like, this is so lovely. And obviously I moved to Liverpool, so it's a big city, but with really nice traditional values. So for me, I prefer to go round, say hello to my neighbours, and you know.
But while you were saying hello, did we do a bit of that, like? Looks nice, that hallway. That would be me.
I'll just say it. I'll go, oh, that is a lovely sofa. Where'd you get that from? Yeah, I'm more like that. And if I don't like something, I just keep my mouth shut and think, right, well, I won't go over to dinner at that house.
I like winter, Janet, because you can go, you know, when you go on the bus or somewhere, and you get, especially if you're up high, you go on the top deck. This is my tip. The top one, and then you can look right into people's, just top and bottom. Yeah, they've got the lights on, the curtains open.
I love walking. First light in the morning, like between 7 and 7:30, and in the evening as it's getting dusk, because you can I got this from my mother. She called it specking. You go and inspect their living rooms, and I just love seeing what they're watching on the telly. I'm having a glass of wine, only 5:30.
I've told you to stop looking in my curtains.
Especially Christmas, because you want to see who's got the decks up. You look at the tree in the window.
Oh, quite a small tree.
I used to
Yesterday, I was in the country and I walked past someone's house and I could see right up to the window, all of you are having wine, and it's like...
Not judgmental at all.
I've got to admit, though, a bit shameful. What I've been doing this year is I was doing a lot of home improvements and renovation on my house. So when I went to people's houses and used, like, the downstairs loo, I've been taking photos of like, just little things like the toilet roll holder, the loo brush, and I've made a whole folder on my phone of, like, inspiration of lampshades. I've never had a wee at yours, so I haven't done it for your house.
Not coming round now. I'm sorry, but it's on double-locked front door when you ring the bell.
I'd be flattered if I was on your mood board, so I've got Ruth Langford's downstairs toilet tap on my mood board.
Selfie of you with a rug in the background that I've used as inspo.
Like it. Let us know if you're a snooper. Snoopers, hands up, snoopers. Come on, join in. You know who you are. They're just pretending. I reckon there's more. There's more. OK, now it's only... Oh, I'm going to say it. Only 41 days until Christmas. Sorry, But the good news is we've got a brand new festive competition for you, and who better to launch it? Yes, oh, it's worth the woo. Even better, worth the woo, is It's Got Gwan. Yay! It's Got Gwan. That's Father Christmas, even better.
Hello, Loose Women. Merry Christmas. I know we're really early, but it's very important because we've got a great competition, and I am now joined by the lovely Friary Brass Band to tell you all about it. How would you like to win entire Christmas? We're going to start off with a £50,000 cash prize, tax-free, paid into your account before Christmas Day. We've got all your food covered with a £500 Marks & Spencer's voucher, so you're going to eat like kings and queens, but I also know you love to decorate your homes, so we're going to give you our decorations. This fabulous tree with all of these gorgeous decks from Next, all the lights and twinkles. Your homes will look like a palace. But Christmas is only Christmas when we're talking about presents. Over £20,000 worth of gifts. We've got all of the latest toys, including the Star Wars. We've got the DeLonghi coffee maker. We've also got a Gucci watch, Louis Vuitton, loads of tech. Basically, all of this stuff will be delivered to you before Christmas Day, and here's how you enter.
Text WIN to 86060. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 786060. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY46, PO Box 7558, Derby DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 2nd of December at 3 p.m. and entrance must be contactable on the 9th of December and for 2 working days after. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Father Christmas, or Gokwan, as we know him. Great competition, isn't it? OK, a dilemma for you. OK, so you're invited around to a friend's house for a lovely meal and they present you with one of these on a plate. Yes, a microwave meal. We've all got one here. A recent survey revealed that 90% of hungry guests say that they'd be OK with that. I just have a feeling Janet wouldn't. I just feel I don't know why, I'm just feeling like, I go, Janet, come over. Oh, here's a nice carbonara from the supermarket. I've done in the microwave.
My comment is quite simple. Last night, very unusually, Badger, my dog, was sick. Looks very similar. No, I like cooking. I used to cook a dinner party once a week for a 2-year period of my life. I don't know what happened to my brain. It obviously went to another planet. But post-pandemic, I still cook for my friends, but I cook simple food, and I love cooking. It's, you know, it's like therapy, and I wouldn't insult them by giving them dog sick.
I like to cook. I like to cook for people, but then I like cooking. I think if you like cooking, that's fine. And I think I love to cook for my friends, but I've simplified everything now. Where I used to kind of think it had to be all very elaborate and I had to make the starter, make the thing. I don't
do all the courses. OK. You see, I wouldn't do it. I
don't always do all the courses even now.
Yeah. So I'd invite you around for dinner and I'd make you a nice roast, but then I would go to a well-known frozen supermarket and get a nice gâteau for pudding.
I love those.
Why can't you knock up an apple crumble?
I'm too busy on Loose Women.
She's got all the answers. Too busy going round to the nearest toilet and taking a picture of the roll for her mood board. You're going to never live that down.
Would you serve anybody in microwave?
Well, with my friends, because sometimes it's like 15 people that end up coming over. So I just sort of send out the Chinese restaurant to everyone on the WhatsApp group and say, let me know what you want, I'll order it in, and then we'll just all have it when we get there, right? Easy peasy. Because I want to spend more time with my friends rather than the cooking. I do the cooking stuff, it's nice to be able to do that. But if I want to catch up with all of my friends, let's get a takeaway and we can have a good gossip and then have a good catch-up over a takeaway.
Yeah. We even do that... my girlfriends and I, we even say, like, are we looking nice? Are we doing scruffs? I go, should we do scruffs? Yeah, let's do scruffs. And we'll do, like, tracksuit bottoms.
Yeah. Oh, well, then, if you've got
takeaway.
an elasticated waist, you can eat anything.
Exactly. Exactly, Janet, you've read my mind. OK, we are going to take a break now. After that, James Martin will be here in about 15 minutes. And he is paying homage to the humble spud today. And will pregnant teenager Summer finally confess the truth to Dad Billy after lying about her pregnancy? We'll have Corrie's Daniel Brocklebank and Harriet Bibby here to tell us more right after this break.
A year ago, Loose legend Jane McDonald joined us to open up for the first time about the tragic loss of her fiancé, Eddie.
Don't want to feel sad for the rest of my life.
Now she joins the Loose Women once more to talk about her bereavement journey, how she's learning to live with loss and her plans for the future. Jane McDonald, tomorrow on Loose Women.
Hello, welcome back to Monday's Loose Women. And alongside me today, Ruth Langsford, it is Katie Piper, Janet Street-Porter and Kelly Bryan. So, still to come, he has had a passion for cooking since he was a little boy, going on to become a head chef at age just 22 years old. Now James Martin is going back to his roots to pay homage to the humble spud. That's at 1:15. First, over to Coronation Street, where the latest storyline involves a pregnant Summer keeping it all secret from her dad, Billy, who's the Cobble's resident vicar.
I'm pregnant. What are we going to do?
If you consider going full-term, we'd love to adopt your baby.
Obviously, we'd make sure that you are fully compensated.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm having an abortion. Rehab? How much is that going to cost?
I need at least 10K. That's the cheap places. It's a joke.
I called Esther and Mike, and they've given me 10 grand for your dad's treatment.
And why would they do that?
I didn't have an abortion. Yeah, I was just telling them about the abortion. I mean, they were so lovely.
Oh. Right, that's good.
Will Billy finally discover the truth? Well, please welcome Daniel Brocklebank and Harriet Bibby. Oh, lovely. Well, it's always good to see you, but we haven't seen you here before.
I know.
So
hello, thank you so much for having me.
First Loose Women. I'm a massive fan of Coronation Street, so Daniel might have told you so. I'm all over this. I mean, this is a big storyline and it's been going on a long time. I mean, how fantastic for you. I mean, it's very emotional too, but how fantastic for you, so new to the show, to get this amazingly huge story.
Yeah, I do feel very grateful because I have been trusted with some very emotional storylines along the way, with someone's getting diagnosed with diabetes and now going through the pregnancy. And
they're all kind of linking, aren't they? Because obviously you're worried about her health, you don't know she's pregnant, and you've got the issue with Aaron's dad.
Yeah, they are all kind of piled on top of each other. But that's why I'm so grateful to work with you, because it makes it like very easy. But yeah, they all kind of link into each other, and focusing on Summer's health, they all feed into each other, so it is quite a worry.
I know you can't tell us too much, Daniel.
Yes.
But how long is this going to go on? Because she's now, obviously, Summer has moved out. She's hiding this pregnancy from Billy, you know.
It'll be going on for a while. I mean, Billy's, of course, completely unaware of most of the stuff that's happening. So Summer's hiding it from him at the moment. So there will be. I mean, obviously, I can't say too much. You know, I'm always
it's always
very
worth a try.
We want an exclusive.
But there will be plenty of twists and turns coming up over the next couple of months. Yeah.
Daniel, I just wanted to ask about, because I just find this fascinating that we're in 2022 and we still have to ask this question. But your coming out story. It affected your career in Hollywood?
Well, it was a long time ago. I mean, I came up publicly in 1998, just after I had a part in Shakespeare in Love, which won several Oscars.
Amazing.
And sort of, you know, elevated my career to a different level. And, I mean, yeah, you know, things were very, very different in the 90s. I mean, we discussed this, I think, the last time I was on here. But back then, it was very much, you know, if you were male, you were seen for the sort of the juvenile in those days, because I was 18, the leads, the romantic leads, and of course, when you come out publicly, they inevitably just dried up.
And were you advised not to by people?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, you know, my personal life is far more important than my career, so that's where you need to...
And it's great, isn't it? Because to pretend to be something you're not is so damaging to your mental health.
It totally is, and I pretend to be other people for a living. So I'm not, therefore, going to pretend to be somebody else in my personal life. I think because of my job, retaining what is real, you know, that's where your focus needs to go.
And also, Harriet, for you coming into Coronation Street with people like Daniel and listening to him there, he's been to Hollywood, you know, there's so many amazing actors, and it's such a family there. That must be a little bit daunting when you're so young and...
100%. It's amazing to walk in and see people that you've seen on screen that have probably influenced you in some way along... from being a kid, watching them on screen and thinking, I want to do that, I could do that, I could get there.
During COVID,
Yeah, I did.
And you took over from another person.
Yeah, which was very odd. So I joined 2 years ago in the height of COVID. We were not allowed within 2 metres of each other. And we had, well, Summer and Billy had a pre-existing relationship. But for me, taking on that role and having to carry all of that history between the characters without being close to each other.
Gareth as well, who plays Todd, who again was a recast, joined at the same time, and so for the three of us to try and recreate relationships with people when we weren't allowed to spend time together. I mean, Billy and Todd got back together, moved in together, got engaged and broke up at a 2-metre distance.
Don't do it by half. I have to say...
Billy was actually more celibate than I am.
Daniel won't tell us anything, but Coronation Street have very kindly given us a preview clip, so you don't have to tell us anything. This is all they'll let us have at the moment.
Do you think he'll say something to Billy?
No.
No, not if he doesn't think Billy knows.
Can't keep up with all this lying, and I'm the one who's doing it.
Well, my dad's treatment's paid for. We can chalk that off.
As soon as I start showing, we're finished. I can't carry on like this.
Do you think we should tell Billy?
No, no.
Well, then what?
We move away until this is all over.
That's it. But actually, Harriet, that's another complication, isn't it? Because your relationship, or sorry, Summer's relationship with Aaron is also being affected by all this, you know, lies and deceit. And what did my mum used to say? What a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive. She's getting herself into all sorts of tangles.
Yeah, and it is strange because Summer does have very strong morals, and I think it has got a good heart. And obviously, she's been raised by Billy, who has instilled that in her. And I think all of her intentions are good. She wants to help the boy that she loves have a relationship with his dad. But by doing that, I think she's so obsessed with getting to that point, she's ignoring what's happening now and actually how Aaron feels about the situation.
Speaking of good intentions and a good heart, you do a great thing outside of work. You have a second job at the weekends teaching and helping young children, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a singing teacher. So I started when I was a student as a Saturday job, and I taught in Wigan, which is where I went to drama school, and I just love it. I love it. And my boss, Joe, has really helped me since being about 19 when I started. So when I got the job, I was at work when I got the call to say,
that's great.
And she was like, no, we're going to lose you. And I said, no, you're not. I'm still going to do my Saturdays. And I do really love it. And the kids are amazing.
That's so good.
So what about your family's reaction when you told them you got Corrie?
They're so funny. So obviously, they were over the moon. I rang my mum and dad straight away, and my dad was just laughing down the phone, and my mum was screaming in the background. I got no words out. But still, both of my grandmas are obviously extremely proud. My grandma went out at the weekend, and they were sat in the cab with my mum and dad, and they were just chatting to the taxi driver, and apparently she just turned around and goes, do you watch Coronation Street? And she tells everyone she can.
Of course she does. They must be very proud of you.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we can't wait to see where this goes. I know it's going to be a very interesting storyline going forward. It's good to see you. Say hello to everyone back at the class. Daniel and Harriet, everybody. Right, we'll take a break. Then after that, we'll be joined by Chef James Martin. He's going to be sharing some top tips from his latest cookbook on how you can turn any sack of potatoes into an exciting family meal. But how do his big spuds compare to Janet's plump tomatoes? Yes, that is the question. Yes, good life, eat your heart out. We'll get the verdict right after this.
Over her career, this loose legend has edited a national newspaper and run countless TV programmes. Now, Janet walks down the supermarket aisle to check out life as a store manager.
I've always wanted to do this.
Duty manager to customer service desk, please.
It's Janet Street Porter's Life, If Not Loose. Coming soon on Loose Women.
I cannot wait to see that. We've talked about this for so long, haven't we? I was like, when are you going to do that
in my
film?
dreams.
And you've got the tannoy.
What? Yeah, I got on a tannoy.
Got on the tannoy.
They took it off me after about a minute. Don't know why.
Get tannoy happy.
Yes, it was fabulous.
I'd be terrified. Could imagine Janet calling into the office. Anyway, so that's Janet taking over a supermarket for the day. That's the latest in our Life, If Not Loose series, and that is coming very soon. Also, we can't wait to find out what James Martin would do if he wasn't a chef. Oh, look at him there! Oh, sexiness. He'll be here in a few minutes talking about potatoes, spuds, the simple spud. Before we do any of that, though, competition time. Back to Gok Wan. Santa, as he was last time. Oh, nice Gok, by the fire. Lovely. I'm setting the scene beautifully.
Well, you know,
Isn't it gorgeous? Well, you know what they say, ladies? Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, and it will be if you win our competition. So we're going to start off with a cash prize of £50,000 paid into your bank account before Christmas Day. Now, we've got to talk about gifts, because look at this. Over £20,000 worth of product will be winging itself to you in time for Christmas. All of these Apple products just here, including the MacBook Pro. We've got the iPhone 14. We've also got the Tag watch. We've got the Louis Vuitton bag. We've got the DeLonghi coffee maker. Basically, we've got so much stuff, including all the kids' toys, not forgotten about them, including the latest Lego as well. Now, we know that you love to decorate your home, so we're going to throw in this Christmas tree with these amazing decorations from Next. And we've got all your food sorted as well. Because Christmas is so special, we're going to give you a £500 Marks & Spencer's voucher so you can feed your loved ones. Basically, all of this before Christmas, and here's how you enter.
Text WIN to 86060. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 786060. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to DY46 PO Box 7558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close on Friday the 2nd of December at 3 p.m. and entrance must be contactable on the 9th of December and for 2 working days after. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Gok. Now, our next guest is best known for cooking up a storm on Saturday mornings since realising his dreams of becoming a chef when he was just 18. Not much introduction needed, really. Please welcome James Martin. Good to see you. Did you see that picture we just showed of you?
Where was what happens when you do Google. What? And where do you get that from?
Can we show it again? Let's show it again,
No,
just
don't
to
show it
embarrass
again.
you.
No, no,
Yeah,
don't
look
show it
at
again.
you. Very nice.
Have you still got those trousers?
Yeah.
The jacket still fits me, that's the problem. Yeah.
Well, you're looking very good, and I was reading you that you've given up fizzy drinks, was it?
Fizzy drinks.
Just
fizzy drinks. Well, fizzy drinks was really I don't drink tea and coffee, so fizzy drinks was always sort of my nemesis, really, and in the kitchen particularly. And we found that in and out of COVID that I wasn't concentrating properly. You know, you were getting this massive sugar rush. So I just swapped to water, and the minute I swapped to water, nearly 3 stone just gone.
Just like that, with
Yeah,
not
gone.
changing your diet.
Yeah, so the
at all,
chefs now have literally bottles of water in my section. Make sure he's happy. Just give him water.
That's your next book, water.
Water, that's it. But it's amazing. The difference is it makes your brain sharper, you see better, you're just, much more alert and,
Just by doing that. Well, small things, they say, don't they? Small things.
Absolutely.
Well, as you said, the next book, water, but before you do that one, we've got to talk about potato. I think this is genius, because I've got your butter one, also genius, but I love the idea of this, that go-to book. If you say, oh, I want to do a potato dish, what, I've got these potatoes, or these, I need to use these up, and you just know it's all going to be in here.
Well, it was interesting. You were talking about cooking at home in COVID land and everything. And then the publisher said, oh, no, let's do a book about home cooking. I said, people are a bit peed off with home cooking and that kind of stuff. Do something slightly different. And so I led on an ingredients led. And I looked at this sort of the aisle in the supermarket, saw potatoes was probably the biggest aisle in there. There's about 5,000 different types of potatoes out there as well.
I didn't know that until I read about it.
Well, my mate's got a fish and chip shop, and he changes his potatoes every 8 weeks. So potatoes are very, very seasonal, although you get them particularly times of the year. But they're also, your King Edwards are particularly seasonal, and they'll change, and they'll go to a different type of potato for their chips.
I'm so pleased you're saying that, because I grow potatoes.
Oh,
and
here we
I'm
go.
banned.
Here we go.
I am
Top trump,
from
top
talking about
trumps.
my vegetables, but I feel passionately that potatoes have a bad rep, because you can have... Everybody knows about Jersey Royals, they know about Maris Piper, they know about King Edward, but there are loads of fabulous
I was talking to 2 journalists the other day that didn't realise out of 1 potato you get 20 potatoes.
Yeah, anyone can grow them.
They didn't quite understand that, whereas it's total opposite to a carrot or as a seed and that kind of stuff. It's just you plant that, and also you need to plant it so when you see these fields full of potatoes, you can't plant potatoes in the same field for at least 4 years. So how rotation is so vitally important.
But don't you think they've also been demonised by diets? You know, no carbs, carbs are bad, cut the potatoes out.
This is the guy who did a book on butter in the middle
I
of...
know.
That's why we love you, James.
I'm not really a trend-setter or a follower, to be honest
But we
with you.
are made to think they're the enemy, and actually we need carbs, we need energy.
We need food. Food's an enjoyment in life, isn't it, really? And I've never been... I've always been fascinated by food. I've always loved food. I've never been into sort of 2 bits of lettuce and a bit of hummus. It's not... It's great. It's lovely.
Food is life.
But I want
James,
some food as well.
in your book, you've done one of my favourite recipes, which is the tartiflette, which is the potatoes with cream and butter.
Yeah, tartiflette is the classic dish from the Alps, but it's cooked potatoes. And there's a new potato called Anya. I know we were speaking back there about this type of potato. It's actually relatively new potatoes. They cross-pollinate 2 potatoes. It's named after Lady Sainsbury. It's relatively new, so you can take these, cook them. They're in the supermarket. They look like sort of small juice and artichokes. Slice them, sliced onions over the top, with or without lardons, and then you put the cream and you put the white wine on the top. Ooh. Purely
I'm
optional. But then you take Robuchon.
So hungry.
A Robuchon cheese cut in half, on the top, baked in the oven.
Why didn't you bring that instead of the microwave meals?
I didn't bring the microwave meals, to be fair.
Would you be horrified if I invited you for dinner and gave you a microwave meal? Would you be horrified?
Do you know what? No, because microwave things like potatoes, microwave mash is great. Yeah. You know, out of a microwave, but it's what you do with it. So you know, I lost a game of golf the other day, and part of the deal is that when we lose a game of golf, there's a group of gentlemen that play golf, and they're quite famous chefs in very famous restaurants, and so the loser, which was me, I had to go and buy a takeout on a Friday night. I had to buy a doner kebab, basically.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody. Yeah. I thought it was fantastic. I was getting more stuff, cheesy chips as well.
Oh,
yeah, exactly, you see. So I don't mind the takeaway. Don't bother me.
So Matt says he's in the jungle for dyslexia, and you were diagnosed with dyslexia sort of later on in life.
I think people wouldn't need to keep him in there, to be honest with you. just take the cameras away and just leave. But he's just not the problem. The problem is they're still stuck at number 10, aren't they, really? But I think, for me, really, dyslexia was one of those things that I kind of learnt to not really to deal with it. It was one of those things on a Wednesday, I remember, upset and crying my eyes out. I'd have 20,000 words to write on a Wednesday night because I kept making a mistake. And I only realised until I started to read the autocue. Yeah. And it was until I sat and read the autocue. I remember we did This Morning together. Oh, never, ever again. This lady's a genius at it.
She really is.
A genius at it. So, I am not. Well, no, but I can cook and talk and stuff like that, and I can do that. If I'm doing stuff at the same time, that's fine, but to sit and read that...
But that must have been very tough at school if it's not diagnosed.
It was, and I failed all my exams at school, which was just enough qualifications to get you in catering college. I failed cookery at school.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. But I couldn't do it academically. I could do it practically-wise. I nearly got expelled at 11, because... You know, when you were told to bring in your ingredients for 11 years old, 12 years old, we want to create a dish. They were doing butterfly buns and Victoria sponge. I did flambe chicken livers with more to it. I bought a bottle of brandy in. Going up in the section.
But you've actually said that you've never read a book.
No, I never read a book in my entire life. I've written 34. I've read the way I do it is dictate it on so the wonderful lady called Sam Head, she's written most of my books with me. Is I'll make something and then she follows it. So even on the Saturday show that we do, all the recipes that we do is the first time I ever cook it, is the first time you ever see it. For the last 16 years of Saturday morning, I don't rehearse any of it.
Oh, incredible.
So I spend my Saturday mornings watching. Look at those.
Oh. Roast potatoes.
Roast potatoes with salt.
There is a tip for that at Christmas.
No, you haven't got time. Sorry. Okay. I've got time. I was just trying to get you back to me, you know, in that subtle way that I do. Honestly, it is a fantastic book, James. So Potato, James Martin. It's out now. Thank you so much. James Martin. That is it for today. Tomorrow it's going to be a good one. The one and only Jane McDonald will be here. Have a wonderful afternoon. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.